gentlemen, no super special introduction today, but ladies and gentlemen, I am back. It is episode 40 of the trhe Wrestling Podcast. Man, 40 episodes, my goodness, how long have I been doing this? Sheesh, 40 episodes. But we're about to hop right on into this thing. Survivor Series or War Games, which is more important? What are you more invested into? I got the answer. And we're also going to talk more about Survivor Series, Becky Lynch and AJ Styles. Is it more important? I'm going to tell you why it is more important for SmackDown to dominate those matches. Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey, AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar. Why SmackDown has to dominate those matches. I'm also going to get into a story on Braun Strowman that I found pretty interesting. And also, I'm going to break down Impact Wrestling Final Hour, the review. If you're here for Impact Wrestling Final Hour, the review, it will be the last subject of the day today. So we're about to hop right on into it. Feel free to follow me on YouTube at OMGCoreyB. Feel free to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Also, I'm on Twitter at OMGCoreyB, at 2SweetPod as well. This will be on Castbox and Periscope. You can find me there at 2Sweet Wrestling Podcast. So, we're about to hop right on into this thing. And to start the day, I'm going to tell you why War Games is much more important than Survivor Series, much more the pay-per-view that I'm looking forward to than Survivor Series. If I had to choose one, you said, Corey, you only got one choice. Sunday, Survivor Series, Saturday, War Games. I would say Saturday War Games 10 times out of 10, baby. Because I am much more emotionally invested into War Games. The storylines that we have lined up for War Games. Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano. We've been following this Aleister Black storyline for, months now? Months. And we got a phenomenal payoff as well. One thing I don't like about whodunit storylines is when we get a ridiculous payoff, like a Rikishi payoff. I did it for The Rock. No, we got a fabulous payoff. It was Johnny Gargano of all people. Johnny Wrestling. We got storylines in War Games. We got the War Games match, that big brawl that led to the War Games match. We got the women's title match. That's going to be a phenomenal match. And the world title match, Tommaso Ciampa versus Velveteen Dream. That's a great storyline as well. A match that I didn't ever really see coming until they made the announcement or until they built to it. So I'm much more emotionally invested into War Games. I know a lot of people feel that way as well. When I look at Survivor Series, it's just an exhibition. It's hard to get emotionally invested into what they are selling us for Survivor Series because we just seen it last year. I mean, I can't get into the brand superiority, the brand supremacy thing. I told y'all they would bring that word back a few weeks ago. I was like, just give it some time. They're going to say brand supremacy. And sure enough, I watched the commercial for the build for Survivor Series, and the last words, brand supremacy. Oh my God. And well, we just saw this last year. So it's tough. It's an exhibition. I know that nothing is going to go down at Survivor Series. The only way that Survivor Series is important, it's only important for two people. And I'm about to get into that in the next topic. But overall, the show is not important. I mean, so what if the Raw men's team beat the SmackDown's men's team at Survivor Series? Then what? You know, I once said last year, I was looking at the matches. I felt the same way last year. I was like, well, should we put some kind of stakes on the matches? And I even advocated that we put some kind of future world title shot for the sole survivor of each match or something like that. Just give me something, some kind of stakes on the men's Survivor Series match and the women's Survivor Series match. Future title shot, anything. Just make it important because brand superiority is not enough for me to get invested. Also, looking at Survivor Series and War Games, look, I know I am guaranteed not to see any stupid decisions at War Games. I know NXT is going to keep it simple. That's all I want out of my wrestling. NXT is going to keep it simple. They're going to keep it about the ring, and they're going to keep it about the in-ring work. I know it's not going to get convoluted. When I look at Survivor Series, man, that men's match last year was so long, dry, and convoluted. And it ended with Triple H as the sole survivor. I don't know if y'all remember that. But yeah, Triple H was the sole survivor, and Shane was one of the last members of SmackDown. I think it was the last member, if I'm not mistaken. But Triple H was the sole survivor, and Braun Strowman just stood tall out of nowhere. So I was looking at that last show, I was like, well, shouldn't Braun Strowman have just been the sole survivor? But anyways, I know going into this year's Survivor Series, there's a chance that some crap like that could happen. Going into the Survivor Series, I know that there is no chance whatsoever of that happening at Wargames. So looking at it overall, from an overall perspective, just looking at the cards, Wargames trumps Survivor Series. Even if there were stakes on the Survivor Series matchups, I look at that Wargames card and I'm just fully invested into every matchup. I'm not entirely sure that we have all of the matchups slated to go. Maybe they'll add some last minute stuff into it. We'll see. But what we have listed currently, I'm super invested into all of it. Survivor Series, not so much. So I'll let you guys decide, what you're more invested into. Maybe there are some people that are more invested into Survivor Series than Wargames. That's very much possible. But for me personally, I'm just not that interested in Survivor Series, and Wargames has all of my attention. I'm going to be in front of my TV for Wargames. I might even do a couple of reaction videos to Wargames as well. We'll see. We'll see how it's going leading up to that time. But moving on, I'm going to move on to the two people who I said Survivor Series was actually important for. I said Survivor Series was important for two people. Those two people are Becky Lynch and AJ Styles. The phenomenal AJ Styles. It is important for those two people, and I'm about to tell you why. Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch. AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar. I just said that Survivor Series is an exhibition, and it is. All the matches are exhibitions. No real stakes are on them. However, these two matches, as it pertains to these two matches, they are very important for Becky Lynch. They're very important for AJ Styles. Look, for Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey, this is merely an exhibition, and it really doesn't matter, because if Brock wins or loses, he's going to go to his form in Canada, or he's going to go to UFC, and that's going to be that. We're not going to see Brock for months upon months. If Ronda Rousey wins or loses, she's a part-time champion. Although she's around much more than Brock Lesnar, it's still a part-time champion. It's not going to hurt her at all. She's not going to gain anything from a win either. So looking from the AJ Styles and Becky Lynch standpoint of things, for AJ Styles, look, that's my boy, but I'm going to keep it real. He hasn't had a great title reign. I don't even know if he's had a particularly good title reign, because here are the facts. And the marquee matches that they've had, and it's not on AJ Styles. I'm not saying that he's a bad champion. Not whatsoever. In the marquee matches that he's had, the dream matches that we've looked forward to, they've made the storylines about everything except the title. Just go back and think about it. Shinsuke Nakamura, it was about the low blow. It was about the finishes, that the non-conclusive finishes in all of those matches that kept going over and over again. Samoa Joe, it was about the family, and it was about personal things. It wasn't necessarily about the WWE title. Daniel Bryan, it was about how they had miscues in tag matches. And they made everything more important than the WWE title itself. So that's why AJ Styles' biggest feuds never really came off and never really popped like we wanted it to. So with that being said, AJ Styles needs a big win. And look, while it's just an exhibition, an AJ Styles win over Brock Lesnar would be huge. It would be phenomenal. And it would be a catapult in a rather lackluster title run that AJ Styles had. A long title run, great title run, but lackluster as far as build, as far as importance goes. And AJ Styles really needs this win. He can't afford to lose the match and lose to Brock Lesnar and pretty much be the second-rate champion, as they already treat the SmackDown SmackDown World Championship as it is. So a win for AJ Styles would be huge here. Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey. Becky Lynch has had a really good title reign, but when it comes upon Ronda Rousey, we got a lot of good back and forth going with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. I think WWE has to be careful because, you don't want the fans turning on Ronda Rousey. That's very much a possibility. You know we love Becky Lynch. It just is what it is. So we'll see how that all turns out. But as for the result of the match, Becky Lynch leads this win a whole lot more than Ronda Rousey does. Ronda Rousey has the full backing of WWE. And I'm sure Becky Lynch has the backing of WWE as well. But Ronda Rousey is just in her own stratosphere as far as the push that she's getting and the push that she's gonna get. So Becky Lynch really needs this win. She's on a hot streak. The matches with Charlotte have been phenomenal. They have phenomenal chemistry. They have the best chemistry, arguably, out of the 4 horsewomen, Charlotte and Becky Lynch. The matches have been great, but we have arrived to a point now to where we are very new in Becky Lynch's title reign. She's only had 2 matches, a couple of matches so far, and now we're at our huge match, arguably the biggest match since she's had the title. It's either between that and Evolution. But it's a huge match. If Becky Lynch gets this win, it would catapult her just as much, even more than AJ Styles if he got the win on Brock Lesnar. So Becky Lynch getting a win over Ronda Rousey, it would be Ronda Rousey's first singles loss, if I'm not mistaken, if she took the loss. Now, I don't know if they're trying to build up an undefeated thing with Ronda Rousey. We'll see going forward. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it would be her first loss. When Alexa Bliss cashed in, I think it was at Money Back. I think that was on Nia Jax, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that was on Nia Jax. That was on Nia Jax. So I think this would be Ronda Rousey's first singles loss. Now, they can protect Ronda Rousey in the singles loss and still have Becky Lynch get the win. I would live for that because that would be huge for Becky Lynch. That is why, while Survivor Series is an exhibition, that is why these matches are huge for Becky Lynch and AJ Styles. They really need to win their matchups. Also, they need to win it to maintain momentum for storylines going forward. Brock doesn't need momentum for his storylines going forward because he's leaving. Ronda doesn't need it as well. Becky Lynch is very early in her title reign. She could use the momentum going forward in her storylines. AJ Styles needs a huge win going forward in his storylines as well. Also, for the WWE title, it would be huge because, as I said earlier, they treat that thing as second rate. The WWE title never main event. It would be phenomenal if the WWE champion, no pun intended, actually got a win over the Universal champion, who they treat as the top star in the company. So those are the reasons why Becky Lynch and AJ Styles need to pick up the win. I'm very much looking forward to those matches. If there's things that I'm looking forward to as it pertains to Survivor Series, it is definitely those 2 matches. So we're moving on here. And we're going to move on to Braun Strowman. Quite the report came out from Mike Johnson and from PW Insiders Mike Johnson, excuse me. And he talked about why Braun hasn't had belt put on him. I found it kind of interesting. And I'll just summarize it up. And he said that there are times when Braun Strowman is negligent when it comes to showing up on time. He has a reputation at times for leaving a little early and sometimes repeating his mistakes in terms of etiquette backstage. He said that he would go on to say that Braun is sometimes his worst enemy and his worst advocate. So there are times when it looks like the company would go the next step and put the title on him or go the next step with him. And there are times when he would just mess up again. So I found this very interesting because obviously we look at the situation and, going into Crown Jewel, I'm among hundreds of fans, thousands of fans, millions of fans saying, let's put that title on Braun Strowman. There's no excuse not to put the title on Braun Strowman. Now, this obviously is just a report. We don't know if it's very true, but we're going to go with it as it is true because we're just breaking it down. We're just talking about it. I respect Mike Jackson as well. So I have no reason to deny his report. But we look at the issues here, and I'm wanting to say that okay, I understand. We don't have the full context. Now, if Braun is just doing stuff backstage that is just unacceptable, then I understand it. And, you know, I understand that you got to hold people accountable for their actions. So I'm not that mad at it. But at the end of the day, I would like to think that this was a situation to where, can we take the good with the bad here? Because Brock Lesnar is kind of leaving with the Universal Championship for months upon months. And we're not going to see the Universal Championship on Raw. I thought the next step for the Universal Championship was Braun Strowman versus Drew McIntyre. And I thought that was going to be a phenomenal feud. And if Braun is having that many problems, I mean, he didn't have to hold the title for that long. It could have been Braun Strowman winning the championship and then moving on to a Drew McIntyre feud. And Drew McIntyre picks up the championship at a Royal Rumble or at an Elimination Chamber. I could have lived with that. But here we are. Braun doesn't have the belt. Obviously, it's because Reeves is backstage, because it seemed like they loved the guy. And he seemed like he was next in line. But obviously, he's having problems backstage. I don't know what the full gist of it is. I'm pretty sure we'll see more and hear more about this story coming out in the future. We'll go on it from there. So, I mean, in the future, I like to think that Braun would eventually capture that Universal Championship. When he does, it's going to be a situation of too late, because it's just going to be too late, because the time to strike with Braun was like last year, and they really missed out with that, like last year and a half or so. So they've really missed out on Braun and capitalizing on his momentum. So moving on to the final subject of the day, we have Impact Wrestling Final Hour. We're about to have that review. Impact Wrestling at a new time, starting at 10 Eastern. Very tough to stay up for times, but Impact Wrestling puts on some good matches, and this show was no different. I enjoyed it very much. And we're going to start right at the top. We started off with Pentagon and Phoenix, the Lucha Brothers versus the OGs. Right then, when I seen these guys coming out, I was like, oh man, this is going to be a banger. We starting out with a banger, and they didn't disappoint, ladies and gentlemen. They did not disappoint. We had some phenomenal spots in this match, man. Phoenix is just ridiculous. I tweeted that Phoenix is just ridiculous. These springboard back headbutts that he does in the ring, he just makes it look effortless. And I mean, this was just a phenomenal match. We had suicide dives. We had anytime when Hernandez goes flying over those top ropes, it is just a phenomenal thing to see a dude that big go flying over the top ropes. I'm telling you, these guys, these new age big men, it's just that goes flying everywhere. It moves around like cruiserweights. It's just crazy to me. It's just something that I can never get used to. I never accept, or I can get normalized with. But for Hernandez, just phenomenal going over the top rope. We had some phenomenal spots in this match, and the finish was just crazy. It's like the Lucha Brothers didn't give you time to breathe. It's like they kept it up on the OGs. They kept it up on Hernandez. Crazy finish, double stomp, and just a phenomenal tag team finish. And Lucha Brothers are going to pick up the victory. This was the best match of the night. And we got it started off with a bang as it pertains to Final Hour. I enjoyed every bit of that match. So afterwards, we had Conan in the back, and Conan was celebrating with Pentagon and Phoenix, and LAX rolled up, and they wanted to know about what's going on with the Lucha Brothers. Conan said they were invited to the party. And we kind of got some tension here, a wee bit of tension. And we got a possible tease of Conan's boys. One set of his boys, the Lucha Brothers, and the other set of his boys, LAX. Oh, this is going to be phenomenal. This just let them have like a marathon of matches. We can just let this feud go on for 2 to 3 months and just have a pantheon of 4 or 5 star matches. I cannot wait. Like, I don't even know if they're gonna go down that road with the storyline, but I'm gonna assume it. I'm gonna want it, and I'm gonna think it until they don't go down the road with it. I want to see that. I want to see those matches. So next up, we had Jordynne Grace. We had her debut versus Katarina. And Jordynne Grace is phenomenal. You've heard me rave about her before in previous videos. I enjoy every bit of her. Her strength is just incredible. I enjoy her ring work as well. But looking at this match, I thought Katarina got in too much here. It only went for a couple of minutes. Jordynne Grace showcased her power. And to be honest, I don't think they let Jordynne Grace get in enough of her work, enough of her moves, enough of her stuff in the match. I thought Katarina got in too much. But overall, it was a solid debut. Jordynne Grace won with the old school bear hug. Man, it's just been a while since I've seen that one. You know, she won with the old school bear hug. And she's off to a bang. Look, I thought Callis made a phenomenal comparison when he compared her to Rhino. Not very tall in stature, but very strong, and used their strength to their maximum capacity. And I thought it was a phenomenal comparison, and I think Jordynne Grace is going to be a phenomenal addition to the Knockouts. I cannot wait to see what kind of feuds she gets put in going forward. So after that, we had Brian Cage arriving at the Rockstar Pro Arena, and he drove up, and some dudes tried to jump him, and Brian Cage started beating up everybody. It was just like Sting versus the NWO. He just beat up everybody. He jumped out of his car and he just started beating up everybody. He just didn't take any names. He asked them around right away. He started beating. He made his way into the arena. Still post. He's ready for outside. So we got this match didn't even really get going good. We had OVG Championship. It started off Brian Cage qualification, muscle and we had a around right away. Power bomb the entire locker room empty. Still, and we had once again Sting versus the NWO. Brian Cage, and the match didn't even really get going good. We had OVG come down left and right. Power bombs. He was just disqualification up on top. We had a parade throwing them down. Just Brian Cage, the entire locker room empty. Good TV. And we had once again Sting versus the NWO. Brian Cage just caught up to him as beating fools down. And we had 10 guys on Sami Callihan. Power bombs. He held him down. Sami Callihan up on top of 10 guys on Brian Cage. Throwing him down. Just Brian Cage muscling around everybody making good TV. But behind him and hit him with the numbers game caught up to him, as Michael Cole would say. They would all stand tall. We had 10 guys. I'm assuming we were going to get a match. We held him down Sami Callihan next week. 10 guys on Brian Sami Callihan. Excuse me. Sami Callihan for the X Division title. Behind him and hit him with the X Division title. And they would all stand tall. And I'm assuming we're going to get a match. We are going to get a match next week between Sami Callihan and another Brian Cage for the X Division title. I gotta say that I would have rather preferred the match been on Final Hour. I'm not a fan Sami Callihan of having a Brian Cage network special. Brian Cage pick up the victory there. Using that to build toward look out another match. Then give Sami Callihan a match. I would have rather have another match. Then we can have another Final Hour. Then we can with Sami Callihan winner. And Brian Cage, so when Brian Cage, we going, we had Taya there. She cut a promo on Tessa Blanchard, said that she was entitled. Give Sami Callihan an excuse, said that she was coming. Another match that then we can have another match that way, and then we can determine a winner. I'm just sitting there like, yeah, so indeed. We going, we had Taya. She cut a promo on Tessa Blanchard, said that she was entitled, and Taya said that she was coming after that Knockouts every bit. And the whole while, I'm just sitting there like, yes, indeed. Role that they have all of this. Because they have had phenomenal matches. All going to be settled. We'll see. I enjoy. If they take the title off of Tessa Blanchard, every I don't think they will. Of their most recent match, and I enjoyed the third match. So moving on, we have role that they have Tessa cut promos on their matches tonight. Going, but eventually that's all going to be settled. We'll see. If they take the title off he was throwing this side, I don't think they will. But I cannot wait until the third match. So moving on, we have Moose and Killer Cross to cut promos on their matches tonight. Decent enough. Moose got on Eddie Edwards, KM, and followed by didn't say he was throwing this side. All of a sudden we heard That cracked me up. But
Scarlett Bordeaux
out of nowhere,
talking about his main event title shot.
She was there.
Well,
she was talking to KM and Falaba. KM and Falaba was begging.
We cut to
KM and Falaba. They're walking down the hall.
Can they
and all of a sudden we heard search. We had some more crazy fan videos, by the way. What is wrong with these people?
Nowhere, like
these
just
Impact fans? She was there. She was talking to KM and Falaba.
Are these real fans?
Because I'm starting to think it's real fans
to come back.
Because can they get into the talent search?
But
we had some more fan video, crazy fan videos. By the way, what is wrong with these people?
Are these just Impact fans? Are these just Impact people? They were all making these videos. Are these real fans?
They wanted
because I'm starting to think it's real fans.
Scarlett, look, they're just crazy.
But we're gonna move
on.
See them next week in
on the
Vegas.
train. Stick on
if they win
Impact
or something.
They'll
probably get lucky.
They were all over
Scarlett
Bordeaux.
I'm waiting on this.
They wanted her attention back.
Obviously,
Scarlett
spot with the
said,
men just looking in. Amazing.
She'll see them next week in Vegas.
But
if they win it
I'm looking for the
or something, they'll
probably
get lucky.
Here's how I want it to end.
I'm waiting on this. Ask Scarlett Bordeaux.
I want Scarlett Bordeaux.
I want to say Charlotte with a minute reason looking in amazement.
I want Scarlett Bordeaux to say that.
Nobody.
I'm looking for the Scarlett Bordeaux talent. Only she is.
Here's how
she is the winner of her own talent search, and this should lead her
Scarlett Bordeaux. I
to
keep wanting to say Charlotte for whatever reason.
More matches in Impact Wrestling.
I want Scarlett Bordeaux to say that.
Nobody.
So after that, we had Moose.
Her talent search.
Only she is.
She is the winner of her own talent search, and this should lead her.
We didn't even get the
bell
rung
matches. More matches in Impact.
We had a
Wrestling.
bucket.
So I hope that's where it
used
goes.
between Moose and
so
Eddie
after that, we
Edwards,
had Moose
used on the outside
versus Eddie Edwards. This was a crazy
this
match.
started very crazily out on the floor.
A
brawl,
phenomenal
floor.
chemistry.
We didn't even get the bell rung.
It's the classic big guy that's very powerful.
We had a bucket
that's
we had
like
used
between
between
smaller guys.
Moose and Eddie Edwards.
Used
on
Eddie
the
Edwards
outside
played off
floor.
this dynamic.
This was a crazy match.
Eddie Edwards and Moose has phenomenal chemistry.
Moose is just as
it's the classic
Bobby
big
Lashley.
guy.
He has the same build of a
Bobby Lashley.
That's still
athletic
versus
just
the
smaller guy
glove
that's
faster.
works just as
and
well.
Eddie Edwards played off of this dynamic
same type
with
of
Bobby
chemistry.
Lashley.
So I enjoyed this match very much. I thought it was just going to be decent at best.
Moose is just as
really
picked
as
Bobby Lashley. He has the same build of a
Moose
Bobby Lashley.
So
it works just as a hand and glove fit. It works
ramp.
just as well.
I don't think I've
Eddie
ever
Edwards
seen
and they
that
have the
before.
same type of
And
chemistry.
he was setting them
So
up,
I
and I'm
enjoyed
like,
this match very much. I thought it was just going to be decent at best, but it really picked up.
He just
when
threw him outside.
Moose did that border toss to Eddie
That
Edwards
was too
crazy.
deep. I know they had a little bit of
ramp
padding out there, but
I don't think I've
still.
ever seen that before.
Border toss
and he was setting him up, and I'm like, oh, okay.
So this was
Eddie
a
Edwards just gonna
phenomenal
block
match.
his way out of.
Moose
would go on to pick up the
He just
victory.
threw him
I enjoyed it
outside
very
to the
much.
to the
floor.
That was crazy. I know they had a little bit of padding out there,
but
but still.
and it went for a
Border
very
tossed
long
him to the
time.
outside.
So this was a phenomenal
match.
And Moose would go on to pick up the victory. I enjoyed it very much. It was a decent match. It was the second best match of the night.
Met up with James
And it went for a very long time.
So
once
I enjoyed it. Moose picked up some momentum here,
and
I'm not entirely sure if this is the end of the feud.
We'll see going forward.
Mitchell. So after that, Allie and Kira met up with James Mitchell.
She wanted out.
And James Mitchell said that once
she
out of
has
this
to buy
dark
into
stuff
her
so
dark
bad,
side. And
look, she
Kira
pleaded
tried to get her
with
to
James
stop,
Mitchell.
but
Allie left with
that
James Minister.
She wanted,
excuse me, with James Mitchell said
excuse
that
me, as
she
she
just
has
has
to
to
buy
buy
into her
Allie
dark
told
side.
Kira this isn't what she wants,
And
but what
it needs
Kira tried to get her
be.
to stop.
So,
but Allie,
this is
left
very interesting.
with
We got
James
another break in the
Minister.
storyline.
Excuse me, with James
We'll
Mitchell.
see how
excuse
it
me,
all
as
turns
Su Young
out going
appeared.
forward.
Allie told Kira
Next up,
this
we had
isn't what she
Eli
wants,
Drake,
but what
and he was with
it
Joseph
needs
Park.
to be.
He was talking about how
This is very
Eli Drake
interesting. We
talking about
got
how he's
another
a big
break in the
guy. I don't
storyline.
need big guys anymore.
And we got
we'll
more
see
into
how
the
it
lawsuit
all
with
turns
Impact
out
Wrestling.
going forward.
I'm not really
Next up,
feeling
we
this
had
storyline, to be
Eli
honest,
Drake,
but this
and he
segment
was
was with
pretty
Joseph
funny.
Park because we got into the lawsuit.
He was talking about
and
how
Joseph Park started talking.
Eli Drake was talking about how he was a big
And he
guy.
brought-
Broke
any
down
big
how he
guys
was going to sue
anymore.
Impact Wrestling.
We got more
He was
into the
representing
lawsuit
Impact
with
Wrestling.
Impact Wrestling.
Out of nowhere,
I'm
Eli
not really
Drake
feeling
just
this
starts
storyline, to be
ramming
honest.
left and
But
right.
this segment was
He's
pretty
laying the
funny
boots to him
because we
he's
got into
talking
the
to him at the
lawsuit
same
and
time.
Joseph
He's laying
Park
the boots
started
to him.
talking, and I thought this
And he
was
brought-
funny.
he broke down how he was gonna sue
He
Impact
started
Wrestling.
relaying
He was
Joseph
representing
Park
Impact Wrestling
for no good reason.
out of nowhere,
Eli Drake just
And-
starts ramming them left and
Eli
right.
Drake.
He's laying the boots
I
to
guess
him. the
he's
lawsuit
talking to him at the
still
same
on,
time
but
he's
Joseph
laying a
Park will
boots
not
to
be
him.
the representative.
And I thought this was funny.
He didn't choke him out with a chair.
He started waylaying Joseph Park for no good reason.
I'm still not feeling the storyline all that much, but I enjoyed the segment.
Eli Drake.
So after that,
I guess the lawsuit is still on, but Joseph Park will not be the representative.
And
he didn't choke them out with his coat.
Moose was ringside.
So that was pretty thrown out from ringside.
I enjoyed the segment. I'm still not feeling the storyline all that much, but I enjoyed the segment. So after that, we got the main event, Johnny Impact versus Killer Cross.
It wasn't the greatest of matchups.
It was, however,
Moose was ringside. Moose
enough
would get thrown out from ringside during the match.
I don't think
but this result was decent enough.
I like the spot.
I
wasn't.
I'm not gonna say that I wasn't feeling it,
kind of did,
but it wasn't the greatest of matchups.
It was, however, a
from the
decent
outside
enough main
into the
event.
ring on Johnny Cross. I thought that was sick right
result
there.
Was
had a sick look on his face.
I like the
spot
spot where
so I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the match.
Killer Cross.
It wasn't a bad match.
Kind of
It was a decent match.
Johnny
Razor's
Impact
edge
Cross
very
from the outside
into
into
the
the
ring
and
on Johnny Cross. I thought that was
sick
sick right there. He had a
event.
sick look on his face after he did
I would
it.
have been accustomed
So
to
I
in a
enjoyed
network
that, and I
special.
enjoyed the
But it was
match.
decent
Actually,
enough.
it wasn't a bad match whatsoever. It was a decent match with the Starship
Johnny Impact
Pain
and Killer Cross
and
very
we
two
went fade to
diligent
black
workers,
with
two
Johnny
good
Impact
workers,
holding up
and
the
I enjoyed
Impact
it just
Championship.
with
He
the great
is
main
still
event.
your Impact champion out of the
I would have been accustomed to in a network
result
special,
was ever
but it
in
was decent
question.
enough. Johnny Impact picked up
Next week we're going to Vegas, baby.
We're going to Vegas.
We went fade to black.
It'll be
Johnny
interesting to
Impact
see what kind of crowd we
Impact
get in Las
championship
Vegas.
he is.
I'm pretty
still
sure
your
it's gonna be a
Impact champion.
phenomenal
show. We got some great things lined
result
up.
was ever
Heading
in
up
question
next week, so I'm very much looking forward to
next
it.
week we're going to Vegas,
And
baby.
We're going to
It's gonna be a
Vegas.
phenomenal show of Impact. I hate
It'll be
that
interesting
Impact
to see
is
what
at
kind of
this late
crowd we
time,
get in Las Vegas.
because not a lot of people
I'm
are
pretty
getting to watch
sure
it.
it's going to be a
Watch it, 'cause
phenomenal
at a
show.
late
We
time
got
it's
some
hard
great
to stay up.
things lined up.
It's even hard for me to stay
up next
but I
week,
still
so I'm
watch
very
it
much
because
looking
I know
forward
I
to
come
it.
to review it
And
every week.
It's going to be a phenomenal show of Impact. I hate that Impact is at this late time.
Great show for
not
me.
a lot of people are getting the greatest of shows, but a good show he had a late time. It's hard to stay up. It's even hard for me to stay up.
With
But I stay up and watch it because I know I come to review it nearly versus the OGs. I
But it
enjoyed
was a
that.
good
Had a
show. I
decent match
enjoyed it for
at
the most part. It
best,
wasn't
as
a
well with the
great
main
show
event.
for me.
So I enjoyed it very
It's
much.
the
Let me know
greatest
what
of
you
shows,
think.
but a good
Impact
show he
Wrestling's
had.
final
We had
hour,
two
whether it be on
really
YouTube
good
matchups,
Periscope
with
or on
E,
Twitter
with
at
Eddie
OG
Edwards
Corby
and
at
Moose
25.
and the
Let
Lucha
me know
Brothers
what you thought.
versus
Let me
the
know what you
OGs. I
think
enjoyed
overall.
that.
Survivor
Had a decent
Series
match
Wargames
as well, whether it be on
the main
YouTube, Twitter,
event.
or
So I enjoyed it very
Periscope
much.
as
Let me
well.
know what you
On
think.
that note,
Episode
Impact
40
Wrestling's final
Too
hour,
Sweet
whether it be on
Podcast. Feel free to
YouTube,
go back and
Periscope,
watch
or on Twitter
more.
at OG Corby.
I am Too Sweet Pod.